interested in what faculty are researching, but they just want to generally get to know their teachers. So they want to know your background, how you got interested in becoming a professor, what are your current interests and hobbies, and future aspirations. So if we could go, oh, that's fine, Dr. Cedillos, no worries. So I kindly ask if you're a faculty member, perhaps you can turn your camera on if possible, just so that they can see you. And then we'll just run through the list of faculty members who are here. We'll save Dr. Cedillos for the end since he's running a little bit late. But if you guys could just give us some background about you as a person, your interests, how you got interested in becoming a professor, and yeah, so we could start with Dr. Abed.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for this session. I think so the students, they need to know really about their professor and, and also to close the gap between like students and faculty and, just to feel that we are like, just like them, we are human beings. So we have our life, let me start with I'm not sure. So we'll say, I'll start with my social life. I think so, because that is the interesting part for others. So I'm married and I have 3 kids, and 2 of them, they are not kids anymore. So they are adults. So Leila, she's around 22 and a half years, and she started her master's degree this semester with the UTSA. And my son, he is like now 17 years and a half. He is senior high school, Franklin High School. So he like to join engineering program. And my little one, she is like almost 6 years. So that's why, I avoid like doing things from home. But that's more likely what I have. My husband, he's civil engineer. So I met him like he was with me in the same college. So we got married in 1997. And so during my, like, I would say career, so I was having like my first kids and then have a break and start my master's. After 2 years, I got my second kid and 2 years off, and then I and then I start my PhD program. And so that's like, how life was going. But yeah, overall was like busy life. If you're gonna have family and education, but thanks God, like I had people who were like helping me with that. So yeah. And what else? So we moved to US in end of 2007 after I finished with my PhD from Baghdad University. I worked there for about 11 years, and I joined UTEB on May 2009. I worked for civil and mechanical. First, I came here, and then I served like part-time civil here, and I worked in New Mexico State University, and also I worked like I have like some experience like in industry. So as I got my PE license on 2000 on May 2012, actually we started. My husband, he started business, so I was helping him for like certain of time. So since I'm like a structural engineer, so that's how the life is going. And my hobbies, I love to walk, and that's very, very important for me because I feel I'm gonna get out of this stress. And recently, during the pandemic, I started doing yoga, and I love it. So me and my little one, so we got new things. And I love to ride a bike. So I didn't have a chance all this time, but now I got a new one. So hopefully, hopefully, I'll do more. But yeah, I think so. That's more likely about me. I'm not sure if you have like somebody, if he has like a question. So you are welcome to ask.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to either raise your hand on the little toggle at the top or type in the chat any questions you have. It could be for Dr. Abed or for any of the faculty members who are joining us today. Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Abed.
Thank you.
So we'll go to, at the end, I think we can all like converse together, but I just want to go through all the faculty members who are here. So next, Dr. Benedict, do you think you could share with us, you know, where you're from and how you got to UTEP?
Okay, good morning to everybody, or afternoon, I guess it is now. I was born and raised in Florida, got all three of my degrees at the University of Florida in Gainesville, and have been on a number of university campuses. My background is actually civil engineering. When I came here 17 years ago, I came as the dean of the College of Engineering, and after I stepped down from that, I ran the environmental program for about 4 years. When I got ready to get out of that, Dr. Shaduri came and asked me if I'd like to be a faculty member in mechanical engineering rather than civil. And my work had always been in the fluid flow area, contaminant transport. I did a lot of stuff in that area. You dump something into the ground or the water, or what happens to it, where does it go? So I spent a lot of my research career doing that, although I've got a lot of other interests today now. I have 4 children, 5 grandchildren. I like to do watercolor, although I haven't done very much recently, and like to walk and to jog when I can. And I'm trying to think of anything that might be of interest. I've been around a long time. Part of my job, I think, is to raise the average age in the department. My wife is a graduate in education, and she taught for a long time, or several years, but she's been a realtor for quite a number of years. So we spent a lot of time. There's a lot of technology that exists now that didn't exist when I was growing up. We didn't have things like this. We didn't have FaceTime. We didn't have all those kind of things going on. So it's interesting to see the change that is taking place. Although some things are not that different. People are here to try to get the better of their lives, and we're trying to help them. That's the reason I'm still involved in this. And I don't know, I'd be glad to share anything else anybody would like to know, but I don't want to also talk everybody's ears off.
So you said you watercolor, Dr. Benedict?
Yes. Somehow I got interested in that a number of years ago, and from time to time I'll get back and it's more difficult than some of the other media, but I really like it. And of course you have to, understand what you're doing. You have to sketch some stuff out ahead of time, and I just sort of got out of the habit of it a little while ago, and I'm going to try to get back into it if I can.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds very nice. Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Benedict.
Thank you.
Next, we have here Miguel Cedeno. So Dr. Cedeno, if you'd like to turn on your, I don't know if you can turn on your camera and share everyone where you're from and how you got to UTEP. Let me see. You're on mute right now, Miguel. So I don't know. Oh, there you are.
Good afternoon. Yes, I cannot turn my mic right now. Oh, the webcam, but yeah, I can actually introduce myself. So I'm from Ecuador. I got my bachelor right there, and then I joined oil industry. And after that, I came to America to get my grad school. And actually, I went to Missouri to get my master and my PhD in petroleum engineering. So, and the reason why I did that is because in South America, the majority of the guys who work as mechanical engineers, they ended up working for any oil and gas business industry. So I have my experience here, and I joined actually UTEP last year. So, and it's been actually a nice experience for me. I've been learning a lot, meeting new people. So working in this department is fantastic for me. I like to play piano. That's one thing that I don't know if you know. And I usually that's the way how I can get my stress out. I usually practice at the university because I don't have a real piano at home here. But right now, for all these pandemic things, I think it is closed, the practice rooms. That's unfortunate, yeah. But that's pretty much what I can tell you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Cedeno. And then next we have our chair, Dr. Jack Chesa. Dr. Chesa.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it was muted. Well, I grew up in the New York City area, so I grew up in the suburbs there. I pretty much spent most of my life back. Well, now it's not have my life back over there. Worked in a lot of areas, consulting in Manhattan, designed things from photolithography equipment for making chips, aerospace equipment, biomedical stuff, and even like consumer products like salad spinners and things like that. And then I went to graduate school. I went to Northwestern and did mostly focused on developing finite element methods, not the computational methods. And then got sick of snow and decided to come here. So I've been in El Paso since 2004, raised two wonderful daughters. So one of them just left for college this semester, and the other one's a junior at Coronado. Hobbies, I guess I play music, so I play cello and guitar, and then I also commute in on a bike every now and again, so I do that. And then basically, in my spare time, I check email and respond to email. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Chessa. Next, Dr. Everett. And you are muted right now, Dr. Everett. There you are.
I think I just yeah, I'm not. Well, I'm Dr. Everett. I'm not very good on technology, obviously. Anyway, so yeah, I was raised in El Paso. I got my first degree at UTEP, got a second degree at Stanford, and then at Texas A&M, a PhD. I'm widowed twice, unfortunately, and so my first wife and I had two kids. Mike, I think a lot of you know Mike, and my daughter Sandy. Sandy has a bachelor's and master's in, unfortunately, civil engineering, but Barry would appreciate that, I guess. And she's married, she's got two kids. She's living in Austin, or not Austin, San Antonio right now. Her husband is also a civil engineer for a local consulting company. They're doing really well. My son has a PhD from our department, RARA, and he's now working for Boeing, doing really well. He's also got two kids. I don't think I have too many hobbies. I don't do music. I listen to music, but I don't do music. I like dancing, and I think some of you have heard me try to do karaoke, but that's about the best I can do. All right, so that's it for me.
You have some pretty cool stories, Dr. Everett. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Well, I'd like to be a storyteller, so but you have to be careful because probably half of what I tell you is not true, but you don't know what half, right? That's what makes it interesting.
Awesome, thank you, Dr. Everett. Next, we have Dr. Amelia Grigg, who I just learned is the SWE advisor, so that's awesome.
I am, yes. Okay, hi everybody. So I am originally from a little place called Tasmania, which if you're not familiar with it, it's the tiny little island that sits off the bottom of Australia, so literally the bottom of the world. So I'm from down there, grew up in a rural farming community, so I caught the machinery bug very early, and then there's beautiful clear skies down there, so I caught the space bug very early as well. Pushed on through all my education in Australia, even though in aerospace engineering, even though everyone just kept telling me, there's no jobs, you have to move. I don't care, I'll move. So finished my education in Australia, then moved over to California, spent 4 years there doing various things, building satellites and building rockets as a professor in a university. Came to UTEP last year, and now I'm trying to do the same thing here. Hobbies-wise, I guess I also like to dance. I do traditional Scottish dancing through my heritage, and I've been lucky enough to compete all over the world with that, which is nice. And now that I'm starting to settle down, I bought a motorbike, and I like touring around America on my motorbike.
That is so cool. I love how you just casually said, build rockets and satellites, like, as you do.
It's what I do every day.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you, Amelia. Next, we have Dr. Khan.
Oh, really? Am I in?
Yes. Hello, Dr. Khan. You're here.
Oh my God, I'm not prepared for talking. Anyway, I'm happy to join there. Okay, let me share my camera then. Can you see me?
We see your desk right now.
Oh, this is on the opposite. Okay, let me revert the camera. That is the
There
desk
you
camera.
are.
Here I am. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is fine and sound and safe. Don't worry, COVID is not yet gone. Okay, so it is on the line again. So please take very good care. Okay. Nice to have me here. Okay, I'm Dr. Ariful Khan. Okay, I prefer my last name. If you think my last name is not good enough, you can call me Ari, which is Ariful, first three word. Okay, sometimes it might be easier for you. Okay, I was born in Bangladesh. Probably you may not know where Bangladesh is. It is beside India, a small country. Okay. I completed my graduate and undergraduate from applied chemistry and chemical engineering. Okay. Soon after completion, I started my job in two universities in Bangladesh, one after another. And then 2004, I went to the Japan to get my PhD. It was a Japanese government scholarship, so I didn't pay anything. Everything was paid by the Japanese government. And I worked on actually silicon surface modification to improve the efficiency for the space applications. That was my PhD job. And soon after my PhD, I started working in a different lab. Okay, that was actually satellite lab under Professor Cho. Then I worked on different electronic payload development. Okay, I developed several sensors, electronics, EPS system for the satellite, and we tested the many cube satellites, small satellites actually, and it was launched. So one of the satellites is still orbiting in the orbit, and yes, we received many data, and many students are working on that in Japan. They are getting data, analyzing the data, etc., etc. And I met Dr. Chaudhary over there when he was visited our space laboratory lab, and he was very actually astonished, and he asked me, why Khan, you are not joining my team? Okay, that was the starting, and then we talked many times, and I got the offer from UTEP, from mechanical engineering department. And then 2016 April, I started my work here. Okay, that was the starting, and then I worked with one team. They worked with the first satellite of UTEP, Orbital Factory 2. Okay, so here my idea was because I worked many days on the solar cell, and I studied how the solar cell in space actually deteriorates, why it is get damaged. Okay, so after coming here, I asked them, okay, why you are not making a small printer so that we can print trays on a PCB, printed circuit board. And yes, it was the proposal was submitted, and we are very lucky that that got actually the first ranked in all over USA. So we are very happy on that, and many students work on that, and after completing their graduation, many students got very good job on this space sector. I'm very proud of them. Actually, they did a very fantastic work. And recently, I have been offered an associate professor for instruction, and I'm very happy on that. Nowadays, I have been teaching the mechatronics and electromechanical system. And yeah, and I have been planning to start some research, talking with some other faculties of our department so that we can do something best for our students so that they can get more matured on this field, get some experience and get a better job, and then they lead their life in the space field. That is so far I have been doing, and I'm really happy getting very nice colleagues around me. I got many suggestions from them, and that is all about me. And thank you very much. Yes, if you have any other questions, I'm ready to answer. Thank
What
you.
are your hobbies, Dr. Khan?
Yeah, my hobby is photography and my hobby is driving. I like driving. Actually, on 2018 from El Paso, I drove to Toronto with my 4Runner. So I really like driving.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I believe the last faculty member we have on here is Dr. Cesar Terrazas. So Dr. Terrazas, if you could turn on your mic and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Like Mayra said, I mean, my name is Cesar Terrazas. I'm originally from Mexico, right, just across the border, as a lot of students are. Right, I grew up in Juarez. I did all my education there, and then I decided, you know, fate brought me actually to UTEP. I didn't intend to come to the US to study, but for some reason, I ended up doing the application and the exam. So I was accepted, and I decided to come in and, you know, find my way through bachelor's, master's, and a PhD. I did back then. I was a student in mechanical engineering. Back then, we didn't have a PhD in mechanical engineering, so I ended up doing material science, which I think Dr. Shesa still resents to this day. Yeah, so a lot of the things that I was doing was 3D printing, right, in the Keck Center, and then. So right after graduation in 2014, I got contacted by a couple of investors. They wanted to basically start a company doing 3D printing of metals up in Connecticut, and I went there for a couple years, worked there. Then I was given an opportunity to come back and teach at UTEP, right? And while at the same time I continued to work for that company, which eventually sold. Yeah, so since 2016, I've been a research assistant professor, and I'm doing, well, yeah, 3D printing of metals. That's what I do. That's the research that I'm looking at. And when it comes to my family, so I'm married. I have 2 kids, one 4-year-old son, and then a 7-year-old daughter. So they keep me busy most of the time, even, you know, during these meetings. As far as hobbies, you know, I'm trying to play music. I don't know if you see my guitar there. I'm very newbie to that, so I'm trying to learn guitar. And I also like running, so that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So we do have a few questions that some students submitted beforehand. So feel free to turn on your mic and take turns and answer it as you please. The most common question we always get from students is, what is the best way to contact you, especially now in the time of COVID? A lot of students are really interested in getting to meet with their professors or learning about research that you're doing, but they feel like maybe sometimes email isn't the best way to reach you. So do you have any recommendations or tips? Oh, hi, Dr. Cedillos. Are you available to speak now?
Give me just a couple of minutes, okay?
No worries.
Okay.
Okay, so if you guys have any tips on how students can reach you and get involved in research right now?
Well, it's a little trickier now, but you know, I think you know, typically the way it used to be was you know, offshoots from classes and things like this, right? So you can still have discussion with faculty, you know, in class. Unfortunately, it's Zoom or Blackboard or whatever, right? But I think actually you find that most faculty welcome discussions about like what they do and getting involvement. So I really don't think you should be shy about that actually in any way. For me, like I'm pretty much always on Microsoft Teams. I kind of these days tend to respond a little better on that than I do on email sometimes, but that's just me.
So I guess I will jump in and say I welcome any student to contact me through email. Email is still my preferred method. Even when we're back in the offices, I never know when I'm going to be in my office. So email is always the good starting point. But I always really like it when the students, like, instead of just saying, hey, I want to chat about research, like, introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your background, definitely tell me what your career goals are, like where you want to go. And then I'll be able to help you hopefully get there, and you know what particular things interest you, and those kind of things really help sort of start the discussion and give me a point that I can like latch on to and be like, oh, well, I can tell you about this, rather than just sitting there and going, well, I can tell you about lots of things, but I don't know what you'll find interesting, you know. So that's what I like.
Yeah, I think I can join you for this. I think the best way is first to start with the email. So sometimes you cannot actually talk about everything in the email. So in this case, I would say to use the Microsoft Teams. So I've been using that even to have like, you know, some discussions with the students if they have an issue and they cannot join the office hours, which is I usually have them by using the Blackboard Ultra. But I see that using the Microsoft team is like very nice, and you know, it's easy to use and very friendly. You know, it just like by having an email and you're gonna be in call and you can, you know, chat and do camera and share things. So yeah.
Yeah, if I can just say a little bit as well. Yeah, so the best method, I guess, for me will be email right now. And I'm actually saying that just because, so I'm looking for 2 students to kind of kickstart, you know, some of the research that I'm doing. I'm going to be supported by the department and the CAC Center. So I would like to, I'm interviewing actually, you know, if you have an interest in research, especially if you're like, this is your last semester, maybe your last 2 semesters of your bachelor and you want to get involved. So send me your resume and I can take a look for sure.
Dr. Terrazas, could you type your email in the chat just so students can copy and paste it and send you their resumes?
Sure. Yeah, let me do that.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other advice before we jump into our next question? Alrighty. So the next question we got is students are looking for advice on how to, I guess, balance their education with work and family obligations. So how did you guys do it? A lot of coffee?
Well, I would like to point out I'm very proud that I went through an entire PhD without drinking a single cup of coffee. I think that's worth the second PhD just by itself. But I just don't like coffee. I drink lots of tea, so it's not actually anything. With balancing the time, I like to tell students, like, we get that it's tough. I honestly do not remember most of my final year of undergraduate between trying to work to support myself and then I did it's called double degree in Australia. I think it's like a double major. So I was trying to finish 2 degrees in the same year. And I look back on that year and honestly, I just can't remember it. I remember starting that year and I remember finishing it and I just don't know what happened in the middle. So just keep pushing through and you'll get there.
May I interrupt, please? Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me? Okay, so in that case, actually, my suggestion to student, please try to know yourself first. Yourself means find yourself on which topic, which subject you feel yourself connected. I think that is very important for the student. if you know yourself that I like this place or I don't like that area, or I like this mathematics, I like this logical flow diagram designing, I like hands-on, make my hand dirty, that will help you a lot first. Be yourself, try to imagine, try to guess, try to understand what you want. Don't take decision what your friends are doing. Sometimes you may be going on the wrong direction. So try to understand yourself, feel yourself, ask yourself. There are many topics running around. So read something, be involved in something, and judge yourself. And sometimes it will help you a lot, a lot. That is my suggestion to the students. Thank you.
Well, I think it's difficult to compare, you know, going through a college degree now versus what it used to be like. I think things are just much more fragmented now, and I know that you all have much more challenging schedules than I had when I was in college or graduate school or whatever. So I don't want to kind of preach on that because I don't think it's really fair, you know. But I do think that sometimes it's you know, to try and study smart, plan your weeks. Do you know what I mean, right? So what I mean, like study smart. Sometimes, I mean, I'm always a big proponent of trying to put a little bit of time into reading the material and reviewing notes, even though it might not sound like you're doing your homework or doing a project which you're actually getting graded on. So sometimes it might feel like it's not really productive. But I think in the long run, you're going to find that you work better, faster, and you have a better understanding of the material. So, you know, and like I said, plan your week and see if you can chunk out contiguous blocks of time, because that's the other thing I think is very difficult now, because, you know, just looking at something for, you know, when you have a half hour spare, it's tough, you know, because you kind of need time to get into it and then you lose focus. So I think, you know, I didn't have to manage my time when I was an undergraduate. I was terrible at it, but I didn't need to. You know, it was just the times are different now. But I think now you do have to start to think about time management. It's tricky, you know. Everyone kind of, it's a little different for everybody, you know. I'm a big fan of to-do lists. You know what I mean, right? And there's some that work better than others. But yeah.
So we have our first question in the chat from Marin. I believe she is a PhD student, and some of us know her very well from CSETR. She is asking, how are you guys handling students having family affected by COVID? So in other words, what are some adjustments that we are trying to do to, you know, assist students in this difficult time?
Well, from a department standpoint, you know, we're trying to manage it as best we can. It's a challenge for everybody. You know what I mean? So I think we're learning along with everybody else. I don't think anyone's a big fan of being on Zoom all day long. You know what I mean, right? But there really isn't much option. Myra's done a great job of trying to do some virtual events, and you know, it's difficult to balance because we appreciate that people want to have more face-to-face personal type of exposures, but then unfortunately it seems like as we start to do more of these, it very quickly has kind of a rebounding effect on cases. So it's difficult. We do try to be, I think we're trying to be as sensitive and balanced on that stuff as possible, you know. So
Our next question we got is currently about doing research and not having a social security number. This is a question we get all the time from students who are international students. And I will say that working at UTEP does require you to have a visa and getting a social security number. But once you do get an offer letter from the department or whatever research center you're working for, you can take that to the OIP office and they will help you get the paperwork done. So don't let that, prevent you from applying. A lot of students at UTEP go through this, so it's very common, and their office is well equipped to help you get the paperwork you need. We have a question from Ayushma. So she is highlighting the fact that we have so many faculty members who are not from the United States. So she is asking, how was the process of adapting in a new environment and culture? Was there any moment where you missed the country of your origin?
I think my name in there, so can I start? Okay, so I'm originally from Baghdad and my husband, he's from Babel. So if anyone have heard about Babylon, so he's from there and all his family from there. So I love that city in Baghdad and I miss it a lot. And I've been visiting every 3-4 years, and this pandemic is just put me down because I was gonna go to visit after 2.5 years, and now it's an additional year or maybe 2 years, so I don't know when. But I really miss it. The culture is there. It's very nice, social life, people good food. The food is there. All restaurants are amazing. What I found that there is some cultures that is between similar to the Mexican culture. So we share some of the cultures. So, and even some words. And so which was interesting for me to know about that. The first time when I came to US, it was very hard for me. Because even first I moved to Michigan, where we have a big community, Arab community, but it just being separated from your brothers and sisters, it was really hard. But with the time, you get used to it, but still I like to go and visit. And about the environment, how I got adjusted to be honest with you, it's big different, in culture. So there people talk loud and, sometimes you says, you put yourself in everything, you know what I mean? Which is, I didn't like. So when I came to US, the culture is different, which is actually, it's come to my, what I like, my personality more with this type, I'm kind of a very organized person and I like to have a plan for everything. So if I would be there, that's not gonna happen, okay? But if you are in the US, you can plan ahead, for anything in your life, you know what I mean? Your social life, your, you have a plan for your work, but there is very, very hard. So yeah, but as in food, I'm a good cooker, so more likely I depends on myself whenever I have time. Even if nobody asks me, I love to cook because I see the difference. I cannot find this a quality until I go probably to California or to Michigan. So that's why whenever we have time, a break, so me and my kids, we love to go there so we can have this kind of food. Yeah, I hope that's
Yeah, Dr. Mehta, we don't
Yes.
know how good you are in cooking. We don't know yet.
That is the bad luck because I was planning actually to do a big invitation for faculty and the staff, before the pandemic, but I was really, some of the people probably they knew about this. And I was preparing until, there's no invitations, nobody can visit. And I was waiting to my actually husband because like his dad was sick and unfortunately he passed away like on March. So I was nervous, about just to see how things are moving, with the family situation, but I'm not sure. But I promise one day you will be, and you,
Thank you.
I will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have anything they want to share about moving into the US?
Alicia wants to say something, I think. Hello,
Hello?
can I start?
Oh, yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, my background is very, very diverse and very different. Okay. I was born in Bangladesh. Then I had been in Japan for 12 years. And the culture of Bangladesh and culture of Japan, there are only two similarities. Number one, the driving direction is the same in Bangladesh and Japan. And both countries like rice as a main food. These are the more common items, and everything else are different. They're talking, their lifestyle, their thinking, their working style, their behavior, their pattern, everything is different. Okay. When I started my life over there, I didn't know any single word of Japanese word. I didn't know anything, but somehow I survived. Okay. And my experience says, first is you have to be first very, very open. If your friend's culture and my culture is completely different, 180-degree different, we have to accept that one. And if we can accept that one, then we can adjust any weather, any environment. We can adjust with any people. Okay, that is the learning I have learned from my experience from 3 different countries. And when I'm here in, first time I came USA 2007, and there was a conference in Albuquerque, okay? And that time first I ate salsa with some, and I loved it. I really loved, still, I have in my home actually on the fridge salsa. I like it, okay? And then when I got the proposal from Dr. Chaudhary at El Paso, I didn't know where was El Paso, and I found it. Oh, it is very close to that culture, so I can go there. I can enjoy the people there. I can enjoy the food there. And yes, that is the main point. If you are open, no environment, no people can block you. You will survive there. Very shortly, that is the main point I like to tell my students. Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Dr. Cedillos, I don't know if you're available now to give us a little bit of a background on yourself.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. My logistics were not very good today, with a newborn.
No worries,
you hear
it's
me?
fine.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I'm here on campus. Yeah, I will be let me just get here. And well, I was born in Juarez, so I'm from El Paso area. Okay. So let me just get one place here that I can be seated. Okay. Okay. So I'm here from the El Paso Juarez area, and my background is I am a mechanical and electrical engineer, and I did my bachelor's in Monterrey, Mexico, Monterrey Tech. Okay, and then I did my master's in material science. I changed not much, but a little bit, and then I did my PhD at Imperial College in London. Okay, So I've been back and forth. I work in the industry like for 13 years, and then I decided to go and do my PhD, and then I got back and got the job at UTEP. So what else? I've been back and forth in this area. I've been out for years and then got back and then out and then I came back. So being back here was like, it's like home, you know. I've been here for almost all my life. But yeah, what else? What other things that I can talk about?
Do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, I do. I like to do triathlons. Okay, so I love cycling. I love swimming and running. So I try to combine the three of them. And I've done a couple of half Ironmans, not complete, but half. I think that's my limit. And I think I have a lot of fun doing that and training for that. And what else? I said that I am from Juarez. Okay, so I know I'm familiar with all the culture, all the the border life. Okay, I'm familiar with it.
And you're also one of the faculty members who recently had a newborn, right? I feel like
Yeah.
you guys all conspire together to have a baby at the exact same time.
Yeah, we have two, and the Joel, he has another girl that is almost the same age as my other daughter. So I mean, we are synchronized a little bit on that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Cedillos. I see that Dr. Flores. Oh, go ahead.
Any other information about me, or?
I think that's it. Thank you so much. For sure, if anyone has questions for Dr. Cedillos specifically, feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat so that I can convey it to him. But I do see that Dr. Flores joined us. Dr. Flores, I don't know if you're able to speak a little bit on yourself.
Sure. Let me see. Hi, everyone. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm currently at a facility. So, my name is Ángel Flores. I'm originally from Mexico. I was born in Veracruz State in the south part of Mexico. Veracruz it's on the Gulf of Mexico, so we are close to the beach. And it's a tropical area over there. So the weather is a lot of rain, a lot of trees, a lot of rivers. So I grew up there until I got 23, I guess, when I started my master's. And so I got used to that area. So it was very nice times, very safe. We can be on the streets at any time, during the day, during the night, playing with our parents close or without our parents. So it was nice. Then I went to Cuernavaca, Mexico to do a master's. And okay, my bachelor's was in electronics engineering. And then I went to Cuernavaca to the National Center of Research and Technology Development in Morelos, Cuernavaca, to study mechatronics. Mechatronics by that time was an emerging area, at least in Mexico. So I got attracted by that. But and I had an opportunity of doing a little bit of research in the Electrical Research Institute of Mexico, also in Cuernavaca. And then I knew I wanted to do a PhD by that time, but I decided to start looking for job for a few years, and I also realized at that time that I wanted to be in the academy already. So I was looking for jobs in the academy in Mexico. Those years, it was maybe 2010. Those years in 2009. Those years in 2007. Sorry, in Mexico. you can find a faculty job with a master's degree at some areas. And the only place I was able to find a decent one was in Juarez, Mexico, which is far from Veracruz. Not only in distance, I think it's very far in culture, very far in weather. And so I decided to accept the opportunity. It was difficult, the change at the beginning. Took me a few years to get used to the food, to the weather, even the society is different from Veracruz, Mexico. But then I got used to it. Then after a few years in Juarez, I was able to do my PhD at NMSU in mechanical engineering. And then over there, I worked mainly in the robotics and some projects in aerospace related and unmanned aerial vehicles. So I got a good combination over there in my PhD. And then after that, by that time, I had already been in this area probably 7 or 8 years. So then I realized I was already part of this, and I started to like the desert. Not only now I feel part of this whole community and environment. It's been more than 10 years here. So after completion of my PhD, I went back to Juarez, to the University of Juarez, and I started working part-time at UTEP. And then at some point, I received an opportunity to start working full-time here. And that's more or less the path I have followed to be here in US. In general, I've been living the last 12, 13 years in Juarez, El Paso, Las Cruces, which are very similar in culture, in food. We can find burritos in all three places and good burritos. But in Veracruz, we don't have burritos at all, for example, yes. But now I'm identified here. I love the area, and yeah, that's how I got here. My hobbies, I don't have that many. I like walking and running. Basically, it can be on the streets. It can be on the slow mountains because. But what I like the most is playing soccer. I don't do it frequently, and maybe I'm not that good anymore, but I still like. So maybe we can play one of these days. And I have a family of 5, me, my wife, and 3 daughters. This one is 7 years old. Then I have the other is 6, and then 4. So that's me, more or less. Is there something else that I can say that you may want to know?
I think you covered all of it, Dr. Flores. Thank you so much. And then also just to share with everyone who's here, for those of you who don't know, all the office staff, so Maria, Iliana, and myself, we are also born and bred here in El Paso. So if you guys ever want to connect with us or communicate with us, just know that we grew up in the same environment that you all are in right now. I believe all of us went to UTEP for school too. So if you have any questions, we're also here for you. We just have one more question, and then I think we'll go ahead and wrap up this session just to respect everybody's time. But the last question is from Ayushma. So we also know Ayushma. She works in the department. She works in our teaching lab. And she is asking, did you always want to be a professor, or did you explore your life interests later on? And do you have any suggestions for students who don't exactly know whether they want to do industry or teaching? I know it's a loaded question, but if you could maybe condense it a little bit to answer. Go ahead, Dr. Khan.
Yes. My dream was always to be a teacher from the very beginning of my life. The reason is that actually when I went to different schools, I met many excellent teachers. and they actually influenced my life. And still, I believe I am taking many advantage of that teaching, and I have been trying to improve myself. I really like to see the bright face of the students. That is all from my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to share? Go ahead, Dr. Abed. I think you're muted, Dr. Abed.
Oh, yes, now it's okay. So I love teaching. So since I was a student, like I was always get involved in teaching other, students. So after I graduated, I worked in one of the project, and I didn't like to be there. So I went to the university. So I got hired. So, and I started my career. And I found that is the job at university is good for women who has family. So the type of work, and I would say you can have time off. Not always you have to be in your office. That's work. Is best for me. So that's why I like it, and it just match my skills and my interests. So it just work well.
Awesome, thank you. Would anybody else like to give their input?
Yeah, I can. So I have a slightly different view on this, I guess, than a lot of people in other fields. Being very specifically aerospace and being a non-US citizen, it makes it very difficult. You basically, there is no aerospace industry in Australia, or there is, but it's tiny and it's not really, I dream bigger, let's just put it that way. And so I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to get a job in the US in aerospace industry. So basically my only path was academia, go do the PhD, become a professor, get into the academic world, get a green card, and then potentially move on. But while I was doing that, I kind of really enjoyed the whole academic professor lifestyle. So I don't know where I will end up going next, but that's how I got into it. And for people that may be in a similar situation with the citizenship, I know a lot of people trying to get into aerospace. If you don't have a green card, it's so hard. That's one option. It takes a few years longer, right? But it is an option.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate that answer, just because I know Ayushma personally, and she is a non-citizen, and she also wants to do aerospace. So I'm sure she appreciates that answer.
Okay, great. Well, if she wants to reach out, I'm willing to chat more about it, my experiences later, if she thinks that will help.
Awesome. There you go, Ayushma. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I really appreciate the time you took out of your day. I know the students appreciate it as well. It helps create a better connection, just so that they're less intimidated of their amazing professors who are experts in the subject that they're, trying to grasp. So I know they appreciate it as well. If you couldn't join us from the beginning, don't worry. We recorded the whole session, and it will be on YouTube hopefully by the end of today, if not on on Monday. And then make sure to join us for our research information sessions. The next one is Dr. Flores on Monday at 12 p.m. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.